Happy Memorial Day, folks, and welcome to another edition of #AskGSM, the weekly Monday mailbag video where I answer your questions from Facebook and Twitter right here in this video form. Lots of great questions here today, so let's get right down to them, starting with the Facebook questions. First one comes from Jared J. His question was, does defending the title every week help Eric Young or devalue his TNA World Championship? So, very good question. I'd much rather have him defend the championship on a regular basis than not defend it at all. I'd rather have him defend it usually just only on the pay-per-views or maybe every other edition of Impact. Defending it every week, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just makes the title feel less special for when the title defenses do come around. And even when he does defend the title, sometimes it doesn't feel it's not even a title defense. Like when he defended the title against MVP a couple of weeks ago, that match ended in no contest or something like that. After a Slammiversary main event, and they gave it away on free TV, and the rating was shit anyway, so it doesn't even matter. But I wouldn't say that defending the championship every week devalues the title, but you should kind of keep that for the mid-card titles. Like, I would be fine with the X Division or even the TV title, which did have a stiff at one point. I don't even know what the hell happened to the TV title, but it did have the stiff at one point that it should be defended every single week on TV. And to do that with your World Championship, I don't think that is the smartest idea. I think they should save the World title defenses for maybe every other few episodes of Impact or only the pay-per-views. I know they only have 4 pay-per-views a year, so maybe that's not the smartest idea. But maybe once a month or so, doing it every week makes it feel less special. It doesn't devalue the title, but I don't think it's necessary personally. I think Eric Young on that case, on the same note, has done a nice job as TNA World Champion, much better than I expected him initially to do, given the fact that he was a comedy character to start out with when he first won the TNA World Championship, so kudos to him for bringing some importance back to the TNA World title. Right now, the entire product is crap right now, but he's been doing a fine job as champion, so I commend him for that. Thomas B., his question was, do you see the WWE using Taker, the Undertaker, to play a role in a future WrestleMania storyline, assuming he hopefully wrestled his last match against Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30? I have no doubt in my mind that Undertaker will be back at some point, whether it be in an active wrestling role. I mean, not every week, but I mean, whether he's wrestling next year at WrestleMania 31, he's making an appearance, Undertaker will be back. There's no doubt about that. He just possibly wrestled his last match. Whether he will face Sting at WrestleMania 31 still remains to be seen. Sting has yet to sign a contract. No one really knows. I don't really read much into that kind of stuff anyway, because I just kind of wait and see to see what happens. But that being said, he definitely will be back at some point. I don't know if it's going to be for next year's storyline, for whatever Brock Lesnar does, or to do something with the Brothers of Destruction. That would be pretty cool, but even still, I think he will be back in the future WrestleMania storyline. I don't even know if it has to be WrestleMania, because you said if he wrestled his last match, so you're assuming that if he was to come back in a future WrestleMania, it would not be in a wrestling role. So either whether it be in a wrestling role or not in a wrestling role, whether it be at WrestleMania or elsewhere at some point during the year, I fully believe Undertaker will be back. In what form and what role, I have no idea. We'll just have to wait and see. But I can 100% guarantee you that Undertaker will be back at some point, whether he be wrestling or not. He will be back eventually. Andre G, his question was, if you can create a storyline for 3 guys to retire, who would it be and how would you retire them? 3 guys that come to mind. William Regal is already technically semi-retired. I know he wrestles some matches a year, but I've been coming up with this for a couple years now. Whether you put him in a feud with Daniel Bryan, who he helped train, I don't think that's too likely, given that Daniel Bryan's a top guy now, and William Regal was never really a top guy, so that wouldn't make much sense. I petitioned for this last year. I even wrote an article about it on Bleacher Report, to have William Regal face Wade Barrett for the Intercontinental Championship. That was Wade Barrett. That was when Wade Barrett was IC champion last year. You could even do it again this year. The English standpoint, I'm not just saying that because they're both from England, but I think they could have good matches. It'd be a nice send-off for William Regal, and it can give Wade Barrett some heat for retiring Regal. So I know Regal isn't even relevant anymore, but I thought that'd be pretty cool. Christian, I think, is another guy who will be retiring by year's end, because his contract's coming up and he's gotten so many injuries. I think it's time to hang it up for Christian, although I am a huge fan of Captain Charisma. I do think he will be done by year's end. I see his last storyline possibly coming in maybe like a one more match like scenario like we've seen in the past, whether it be in, I was talking to someone about this the other day, whether it be in the Money in the Bank ladder match or facing whoever the Intercontinental Champion is, because he still has that title shot that he earned in early March of this year and has yet to cash in on it because he got injured before he can go for the championship. So You could do that. I don't see him going for the World Championship ever again, but though he did at Elimination Chamber, so stranger things have happened. But I think giving Christian at least one more match, one more feud before he gets a big send-off, that'd be pretty cool. The third person, I put Undertaker / Kane. Either one could really work for this, but you got to do something gimmicky to kind of send him off. Undertaker, I've always said that if he was to lose at WrestleMania, or even if he won, he gets taken out on the casket or whatever else. I know they kind of did that at WrestleMania 27 with the stretcher, but that'd be pretty cool. And then you never see Undertaker again. Maybe once for a Hall of Fame ceremony, but to have him go out in a casket, I think would be pretty cool and very fitting for his character. Maybe Kane for the same thing, given that they are the Brothers of Destruction after all. But something like that. Regal and Christian I would retire this year. Kane or Undertaker. Undertaker could technically be already retired, and whether that be his last appearance, and I don't think it was, at WrestleMania 30 against Brock Lesnar, that remains to be seen. I don't think he should have gone out that way if that's his last match, especially given the fact that the match wasn't all that great. So, yeah, I would have to go with either probably Undertaker retiring first before Kane, but that's the way I would send out both guys. And I also got some more Facebook questions right now that I have to I'm going to pull up. I didn't put them in my forum when I compose these questions, so just bear with me for a second. I think I have one or two from Facebook I still need to answer. I don't want to delay them until next week, so I might as well just ask them now. Oh yeah, oh crap! I got a number of questions left on Facebook that I did not get to. That was my bad. Should have checked it this morning. I don't know why I didn't. But let's see here. Okay, a lot of questions that we need to get to from Facebook that I did not include in my question list. But first one comes from Paul S. His question was, how do you think the WWE will fix their mistake for allowing Brock to break the streak? So kind of on the same note as what I was talking before. And the fact that it may not be Taker's last WrestleMania match. Do you think the fans will somehow forgive and forget the whole thing when the WWE finally, after 10,000 light years, signs Sting and plans him to face Taker next year? I don't think anyone's going to forgive and forget the streak ending. Whether it be the right move or the wrong move, I mean, it still has yet to be determined. Brock Lesnar has not yet made an appearance since tonight after WrestleMania. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't said anything. He didn't say anything in his post-WrestleMania promo. He just said Paul Heyman did all the talking for him. And, I mean, that's good on most cases. But, I mean, this guy just broke the streak. You would think he would say something. But even still, I don't think... Whether it be a mistake or not, like I said, that remains to be seen. It all depends how Brock is booked when he comes back. If he's dominant, if the spotlight is on him, which it's usually not, and I commend him for that, for not taking up the whole spotlight all the time. We gotta wait and see. If he goes for the championship, which he basically has to at this point, then it's fine. Then it makes sense for him to break the streak. It was logical in real life. You could see Brock Lesnar as a guy that could beat the Undertaker, especially given Undertaker's current state. Whether it leads to an Undertaker Sting match, I don't know if they would start building towards that at the Royal Rumble next January of next year. It all depends whether they sign Sting or not, when they sign Sting, if they sign Sting at all. It really has to, you just got to give it time. I mean, I think it's still too early. I know I'm saying that a month and a half removed from WrestleMania. We just got to give it more time before we can really see what the impact was of Brock Lesnar breaking the streak. I mean, the next day people were saying it was the wrong move. I was saying it was the wrong move. I wanted to see Undertaker retire with the streak intact. But you just got to wait and see, because right now it's still too early to determine whether it was the right move or not. I don't think fans are going to forgive and forget the whole streak ending, because it was a streak after all. But I think some fans would be happy to finally see Undertaker versus Sting next year's WrestleMania, have that be Undertaker's final matchup. Whether that be a 5-star classic or a complete crap fest, I mean, I think it would be pretty cool. A cool feud, a cool dream match to finally see come to fruition. But I don't even know if that match would be better than Brock versus Undertaker. I didn't like that matchup, and I think Undertaker should have a better match before he eventually retires. But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Nathan D, his question was, what is your opinion of sending the WWE roster talent back down to NXT like Brodus Clay? I think it's a very smart idea. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. I don't like to see NXT taken over by the WWE stars. I don't want to see Brodus Clay, Natalya. She doesn't feel special anymore. She stopped feeling special like 5 months ago. She appears on almost every episode. She's going to be going for the NXT Women's Championship on the upcoming Takeover Special. Tyson Kidd's another guy. I think it's a good idea, though, because for one thing, when the NXT talent beats the WWE talent, it gives them a boost to say that I just beat this credible superstar. I'm ready for the next level. It gives them great matches. Just look at Cesaro, Tyson Kidd, and Neville should be a great match at a TakeOver. Very much looking forward to that. So in any case, yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. All these people coming to NXT, it should be great. They're all used right. I mean, they all have great matches, and they need some time to more develop their skills and stuff like that. Like a Tyson Kidd, they weren't doing jack squat with him on the main roster, so might as well bring him down to NXT to have some great matches, work on his mic skills, and he did have a good promo this past week on the NXT special, on the NXT show, the final episode before TakeOver, as did Neville. So I think it's a very good idea, as long as they're not completely occupying the show like they did with the original NXT when they just made the NXT Season 4, Season 5, whatever the hell it was, in a complete undercard show for guys like Tyson Kidd, Yoshitatsu, JTG. It was like Superstars 2.0. That was ridiculous. So those are my thoughts on that. Ross S., his question was, who do you believe should go into the Hall of Fame, and who would you like to see induct these people? Obviously, Macho Man Randy Savage, that is a given. Who else? Rick Rude, I think, deserves to be in there. Sting, some people say he doesn't deserve to be in there. I think he personally does. Maybe at some point, maybe next year in California. Are they in California next year? Yeah, they're in California. So maybe Sting. There's a whole list of people, and I've said this in past videos. I just can't really think of it right now. And had I written down your question beforehand, I would have prepared for this a little more, so I apologize for that. But, yeah, Rick Rude is one that comes to mind. There's a lot of people that aren't currently in there. Lex Luger, maybe, maybe not. The New Age Outlaws at some point, definitely not anytime soon. DX, NWO, that's an easy one. Kevin Nash, Last Diesel. So those are some people. There's a lot more that I'm forgetting, obviously. But with San Martino in, and Ultimate Warrior, and Bob Backlund already in, those are the big names that I really wanted to see in. So at least those people are in. But yeah, those are some of the names. The Rock is another one, obviously, that he deserves to be in too. So yeah, those are some people that I would like to see inducted in future years. Owen Hart, another one too. I forgot to mention that. So those are some people that I would like to see next year and inducted in next year or in coming years or whatever. Who to induct these people? The Rock. Not Mick Foley. Maybe his family or something. I don't know. Who was close to The Rock? Stone Cold, maybe? That'd be pretty cool. For Owen Hart, definitely Bret Hart. That would make the most sense to the entire Hart family. For Macho Man Randy Savage, probably his family. If they accept the invitation, I am pretty sure they will at some point. So probably Lanny Poffo, the genius Lanny Poffo. Who else? Rick Rude, I don't know. I don't know enough about him to really get a feel of who he was friends with in the business, or who he had his greatest feud with and stuff like that, so I can't really say it for him or the other people. But those are some people that I would like to see inducted in the Hall of Fame in coming years, and those are the people that I would like to see induct them into the Hall of Fame. So the final Facebook question comes from Gary W. His question was, bring back the Cruiserweight division. It easily creates more storylines and plays into play. It easily creates more storylines, or brings more storylines into play. I apologize. It allows more superstars to have a chance at guaranteed championships. It easily brings in more exciting matches into play, as well as a guaranteed show stealer for shows and pay-per-views. It could even be used as a pre-show. It's a lot better than having some useless and irrelevant match on the pre-show. So, yes. I do think a Cruiserweight division could be implemented. I think it'd be a great idea. But here are my two thoughts on that. Nitro devoted, I think, their almost entire first hour to the Cruiserweight division, or at least a significant portion of it. WWE in 2014, I don't think would do that, to be quite honest with you. I don't think they would change the format at all. And if the Cruiserweight division would become a joke on the main roster on Raw, and it would only have 5-minute matches, even less, it would become the Divas division of the WWE, and the title wouldn't mean anything, then it's useless and don't do it. But I think there's enough talent, like Sin Cara, like Tyson Kidd, like Evan Bourne, Yoshitatsu, Rey Mysterio maybe. There's a lot of guys in the main roster right now that could definitely... Adrian Neville is another guy if he eventually gets called up. Sami Zayn. All these people I think could flourish in a Cruiserweight division if they were to bring it back. So like I said, if they were to use it on Raw, like in 2 or 3 minute matches, it's completely pointless. Don't bother doing it. But this was rumored a couple years ago, and I really like this idea. If you have it as a network-exclusive show, something along those lines. I know a lot of people don't love that idea, aren't enthralled by that idea, but I think it would be pretty cool. They could have more time. I think it'd be better than an all-Divas show, because I think there's more Cruiserweight talent in the WWE than there is Divas talent, because they have the Divas matches almost every show anyway. They have it on SmackDown, they have it on Raw, they have it on Main Event, Superstars. So at that point, you don't even need your own Divas show, especially with Total Divas now. around. That doesn't really make much sense. But an all Cruiserweight Division show, I think it'd be great, honestly. So, yeah, I'd love to see something like that implemented, either on the network, maybe not more so on Raw, because like I said, they wouldn't get much time, but either way, I think a Cruiserweight Division could be back to make use of the guys they aren't even using on TV, like a Kurt Hawkins or a Yoshitatsu or whoever else, a JTG maybe if you would qualify. Guys that don't appear on TV, so you might as well use them in that fashion. So now going on to the Twitter questions. At Cody Collier 12, his question was, why do you think the Shield's triple powerbomb was left out of the WWE 2K14 video game, and do you think it will make its way into 2K15? Why it was left out of the last game? Probably because it was a 3-person finisher. I'm not a big gamer, so I can't tell you. I've only played 2K14 only a handful of times since I got it for Christmas. That's because I don't have an Xbox up at school, so I've only been playing it at home. But nevertheless, I think it wasn't included because it's a 3-person move, and they only have tag team finishers with 2 people and stuff like that, so it wouldn't make sense. I don't know if it's logistically possible to have 3 people perform a finisher on someone in the game. Maybe they'll implement it into the next game. I have no idea. I didn't even notice that, to be quite honest with you. I think it'd be cool if they implemented it into the game, but that's probably why, because I don't remember ever having a 3-on-1 finisher in a video game, because not a lot of stables have one finisher, like the NWO or I don't know, whatever other 3-person stables there were in WWE or wrestling history. I don't really remember having many finishers, like a 3-person finisher. The Shield is unique in that fashion, in that way. So hopefully they do bring that into the next game. That'd be pretty cool. So at Ambrose311, his question was, what direction should the Bray Wyatt character go in after a feud with John Cena finishes? I don't think you should go after the championship, maybe, but I don't, honestly, at this stage in the game, I don't see Bray Wyatt being a championship caliber contender. It really depends what the whole thing with Daniel Bryan happens, because Daniel Bryan versus Bray Wyatt, after Bray Wyatt beat him clean at the Royal Rumble, I think could easily go for the championship. But, I mean, it really depends on who it's against. I mean, Bray Wyatt, I don't really see him as a WWE World Champion right now. He hasn't even been in the WWE for a year, or at least in the main roster. So I don't think he's ready yet. I mean, even after his feud with the face of the company. That being said, though, what he does after this, I've been talking about this for months, but I really have no idea, to be honest with you. It's going to be really interesting to see what they do with Bray Wyatt after his feud with Cena finishes, and even what they do with Cena. But I've said in the past, maybe Cena can feud with Cesaro or whoever else in the roster. There's a lot of heels he could feud with. Bray Wyatt, I don't know. Maybe you do another Wyatt Family Shield feud with the Shield being the faces this time. I mean, we've seen that match a handful of times already. I wouldn't complain. It would be pretty cool. I put him in my article to possibly win the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's not really out of the realm of possibility. But I could see him, because Money in the Bank is next pay-per-view after Payback. So maybe he can go to Money in the Bank, win the briefcase, maybe hold the championship later on this year. I just don't think he's ready right now, to be honest with you. But yeah, maybe the Money in the Bank briefcase, if I had to take a guess. So the next question comes from at JJF Tweets. His question was, if HBK, Shawn Michaels, were to come back for 3 matches and you book them, who would he face? Easy, hands down. This is an obvious match that I would do. Daniel Bryan versus Shawn Michaels. The student versus the mentor makes a lot of sense. Student versus teacher, whatever. Would be an amazing matchup. Not saying I want to see it. Like, I want to see Shawn Michaels came back. He had such an amazing send-off. Why ruin it by coming back? I know the matchup would be worth it, but just leave it at that. And I'm glad Shawn Michaels didn't return this year to do that matchup. Don't ruin it like Ric Flair did by having him by wrestling elsewhere or wrestling in the same company. Ric Flair had such an amazing send-off, and he ruined it by wrestling over in TNA and having a bunch of crappy matches over there. But nevertheless, yeah, I definitely think Shawn Michaels versus Bryan would be a match that I would do. I don't know if he technically counts, but he's still under contract. He's not there right now. But CM Punk versus Shawn Michaels is a dream match in my personal opinion, which I think would be great. We got a little taste of it last year when Shawn Michaels came back for a brief one-off appearance. They teased it. They never obviously did it, but they did tease it. That was pretty cool. They've had some cool interactions in the past, and interaction on the night that CM Punk cut his pipe round promo early on June 27th, 2011, at a brief promo then. I thought that was a really cool segment with those two. So Punk and Michaels could have a great matchup. And Dolph Ziggler, too. Dolph Ziggler versus Michaels. Just imagine the sexy selling that Dolph Ziggler could do with the sweet chin music. It would be amazing. That could be a great matchup, too. So Ziggler, Michaels, Bryan Michaels, and Punk Michaels are the 3 matches I would do. His second question was, with Kane, Undertaker, Mark Henry, and Big Show likely all to retire soon, who will be the next big veteran big man? Very good question. I was looking up and down the roster. Maybe we have yet to see that person. I know Kane's still going to be around for a couple more years, so we won't really know for another few more years. But it's really hard to say. The few people that I wrote down, Ryback, I mean, he's not a big guy, but he is very strong. So he is a powerhouse, so I could see Ryback possibly being the next big veteran guy. I put down Khali. I mean, he could probably be gone soon too. I mean, he's in his 40s. He's probably going to be gone within the next few years, thankfully. And Brodus Clay, I mean, he's a real underutilized talent in my opinion. He's a big guy, but in Tensai's kind of already retired too, so I don't count Tensai. But Brodus Clay, if they used him right, I think he'd be a top monster heel, but they never booked him right after his heel turn last year, which really disappointed me and pissed me off. But yeah, they have yet to use him right, so Brodus Clay. But that's a good question, though. I don't really think we have yet to see that person come up onto the roster and fill that void as a top villain, as a big man, as a monster heel, with Big Show, Kane, and Khali, Undertaker, Mark Henry all retiring within the next few years, probably. Not immediately. I think we still got a few more years in Kane and maybe even Henry, because I know he signed a contract for another couple more years. But yeah, I don't think Ryback will be that guy. Maybe Khali definitely will not be that guy. Brodus Clay, but I think we have yet to see that big guy to replace a Kane or a Big Show or whoever else. I think we have yet to see them debut. Maybe they're still down in NXT. Maybe they'll debut within the next few years. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, I think we have yet to see them. If not, then maybe Ryback or Brodus Clay. At Raw's Gibby, his question was, with a lot of tag teams disbanding, who should get together and be a tag team? Very good question. Miz and Ziggler, I think, is an obvious one that's been rumored for a while now. I've been wanting to see that tag team for years. I think it'd be great. Dolph Ziggler isn't doing jack squat. The Miz isn't doing jack squat. So put them together in a tag team could be very entertaining. Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder, obvious one. I don't know why they haven't done that yet. They have history together, former WWE Tag Team Champions together. Neither are doing anything. Kurt Hawkins isn't even on TV. But Zack Ryder is sometimes. And you might as well put them together as a tag team. It makes the most sense. I don't know why they haven't already. But yeah, those two. I'm sorry, to go back to the Miz and Ziggler thing real quick. I know I read a report recently that WWE, I don't know if this is true or not. Just take this with a grain of salt. The WWE doesn't want Ric Flair to manage Dolph Ziggler, but they would want him to manage The Miz. I mean, I'm a big fan of The Miz, but even I don't really want to see that happen, to be quite honest with you. But to kind of give us the best of both worlds, maybe you do a Ric Flair as a manager for a Miz and Ziggler tag team. That could be pretty cool. Just a thought. But some other tag teams I would like to see, and these are more like reuniting tag teams, like I said, Hawkins and Ryder, but those make the most sense. Tyson Kidd and Justin Gabriel, why don't they put those guys back together again? Tyson Kidd, I mean, he's ripping it up down in NXT right now, but Justin Gabriel isn't doing anything. He's very talented, so put them back together. I know there was a rumor of bringing them back, of reforming that tag team when Tyson Kidd came back from injury, and when they did, they had a match against each other, and that was it. They never did anything else with them. That was weird. And also Evan Bourne and Kofi Kingston. I loved Air Boom during the only 5 months that they were together, but I loved Air Boom. I thought it was a great tag team. Evan Bourne, I think, is ready to go. He's been out for like 2.5 years now. I think if you bring him back up, pair him with Kofi Kingston, who wasn't doing anything. So those are some tag teams I would like to see in the tag team division and go for the tag team titles. At Tony Kegger, his question was, do you think there will be a WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at Payback? No, I don't think there will be. I don't think they will strip Daniel Bryan of the championship. I've been really going back and forth on this in recent days, but at this point, I think they'll probably just keep the championship on him. I wouldn't be pissed if they stripped him of it, because I understand that Daniel Bryan might be out for a couple months. But I don't think that even the pay-per-view needs a world championship match at this point. I mean, look at the card already as far as what we have. We got Bad News Barrett versus RVD, not a main event match, obviously, but Cesaro versus Sheamus should be great. Barrett versus RVD should be good. We also have Bray Wyatt versus John Cena, a last man standing matchup, and a no-holds-barred elimination matchup between The Shield and Evolution, which should probably main event this show after they ripped it up and had the show-stealing matchup at Extreme Rules. So I don't think the show needs a world title match anyway to sell the show for people. I mean, we have the friggin' network now, so you don't need to buy the pay-per-view. We're not living the pay-per-view era anymore. It's a WWE network era. But that being said, though, I don't think we need a championship matchup. I don't think we need a WWE World Heavyweight Title matchup at Payback to crown a new champion. I think it's far too soon for that. If Daniel Bryan was to be stripped of the championship this upcoming week on Raw, I don't think we need to have a championship matchup to crown a new champion at the pay-per-view. I think that'd be way too quick. They should maybe do a tournament or something like that to crown a new champion. It wouldn't happen as soon as Payback. So, no, I don't think there will be a World Championship matchup at Payback, nor do I think there needs to be. At the Wrestling Mark, or just at Wrestling Mark, his question was, favorite WrestleMania and why? I'm just going to go off the WrestleManias that I've seen, and I think I've probably gotten this question before, but it is a good question nevertheless. I have seen 17, 19, 20, and 21 on the network, and I've seen them on the network, but I'm not going to say any of those are my favorite WrestleMania because I really wasn't around for them, so it wouldn't make sense. But as far as WrestleManias that I've seen from 24 to 30, since I've been a fan, it's really a toss-up. Had you asked me a few months ago, I would have said WrestleMania 28, but after WrestleMania 30, WrestleMania 30 would probably take the cake. I thought that was the best WrestleMania in years. I thought it was fantastic. So WrestleMania 30 would have to be my WrestleMania, my favorite WrestleMania that I've seen live, that I've been a fan for. 17, 19, 20, 21, they were all great. So maybe even those would be my favorite above anything I've seen in the last few years. But it's really hard to say that any of those would be my favorite because I wasn't really a fan for any of them during the time that they initially aired. So I would have to go with 30 of all the ones that I've seen live. At the AN Innovator, his question was, do you think the WWE should get rid of the rematch clause? Very good question. I mean, it's been around for so long, but even still, I mean, it doesn't even get used most times. I mean, I know we do get the rematch clause, like the champion loses his match at the pay-per-view, he loses his championship, and then he reinvokes the rematch clause at the next pay-per-view. Okay, we've seen this matchup before, it's just the tables have been turned, one's the champion, one's the challenger. I don't really think it's even necessary this day and age. I mean, with the 30-day rule, some people say that should be getting rid of. I think that was gotten rid of a long time ago, with champions having to defend their championship every 30 days. That was gotten rid of years ago, to be honest with you. The rematch clause, it's funny because WWE doesn't always use it. They only use it when it's fitting for them. When it's appropriate for them, they use it. But when they don't want to do a rematch, they're like, screw it, we won't do it. So yeah, I think they should get rid of the rematch clause, to be honest with you, because if they're not going to use it all the time, they're only going to use it some of the time, then why bother using it at all? Just find other ways to crown a new contender. Maybe have them win a contenders matchup or whatever else. But yeah, I do think the rematch clause should be gotten rid of because if you're not going to use it all the time, why bother using it at all? So the next question comes from at the Toasty Cub. His question was, do you think Ryback will ever be able to make it back to a main event level with a comeback / receive a legit push and win a championship? Let me reread that question to completely botch that. Do you think Ryback will ever be able to make a comeback / receive a legit push and win a championship? Someone asked me this last week, I think, but I never say never, obviously. I think they could, if they wanted to, if Vince McMahon got another boner for Ryback and they wanted to push him again, then I think it's possible. I do think he's damaged goods at this point, if only because they turned him heel, ruined any credibility he had by having him lose to everybody. And he's only won maybe 2 pay-per-view matches in the last 2 years. But that being said, though, I think it's possible. I just don't see it happening. They've devalued him so much over the last year that I think he's past the point of he's to the point of no return right now. So I don't think he will be back to main event level anytime soon, if ever. But I'm not going to say he will never be, because I think it's possible that if the WWE wanted to push him again, they could. Turn him back face, maybe go back to doing the Fiend Me More thing. It is possible. I'm not going to say he will never be back to main event, but do I see it happening? Probably not, which is unfortunate because I'm a Ryback fan. I think he could have been a nice world champion last year during the whole CM Punk thing, but CM Punk had to retain his championship going to his match at The Rock, so they couldn't put the title on Ryback. It was really a crappy situation. It was just bad timing for Ryback. He was And when he contended for the championship the next time during his feud with Cena, Cena had just won the championship, so it wouldn't have made sense to take the title off Cena that quickly. So, that being said, no, I don't think he'll make it back to the main event scene. He was just in a really bad position last time, bad timing, and he hasn't been pushed since, which sucks. And the last question comes from at the Colt Cabana, not Colt Cabana, but at Colt Cababa. I'm sorry if I completely botched that. His question was, which direction do you see Adam Rose going post-Payback from facing Jack Swagger, assuming he will? Probably that matchup will happen either on the pre-show or the pay-per-view itself at Payback next week. in 6 days from when I film this. Where Adam Rose goes from here, I don't know, but I will tell you where he shouldn't go from here, and he shouldn't go into feuding with Fandango. That's a feud people will say will be the death of the Adam Rose character, and I couldn't agree more. Fandango hasn't met anything in a long time. So having him feud with an enhancement talent, I mean, Jack Swagger's an enhancement talent too, but at least Jack Swagger is a former world champion. I mean, I use that term loosely because he wasn't a great world champion, but he is a former world champion nevertheless. He has more credibility than a Fandango does. So it's a better feud than having him feud with Fandango. But Fandango, I mean, I know the similar gimmick thing. It's a fun feud. We can have a few dance contests. It's going to get old within a month, so no. Have him feud with another mid-card or something like that. Maybe go for, I can't really go for a championship. I don't really want to see Adam Rose versus Bad News Barrett right now because Bad News Barrett should retain, seeing how he just won the championship a month ago. But not even a month ago from when I filmed this. But even so, where he goes from here, I have no idea. But he should not go to feuding with enhancement talent like Fandango or Brodus Clay or whoever else, because that'd be a waste of time. It'd be a complete waste of bringing the character up in the first place. If they're not going to do anything with him, then why even bother bringing him up just to feud with some dancing fools? You know what I mean? So with all that being said, that does it for this week's #AskGSM video. Thanks again for all the questions. All of them were great. Keep on sending them in. You guys are the reason the show keeps on going every single week, so keep sending them in by tweeting me on Twitter with the #AskGSM @WrestleRant, or like my official Facebook page @GrahamGSMMatthews. Leave a comment on the wall or leave a comment on the post. I usually leave on Sunday nights when I ask for questions from people. You can also leave a comment on this video with your question. I'll include it in next week's video. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All support is greatly appreciated. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy your Memorial Day, and this is GSM signing out for next week, guys.